Welcome to this episode of Eureka, and we are taking you to Hyderabad. We are taking you to International Advanced Research Center for Powder Metallurgy and New Materials. In short, ARCI, a institution under Department of Science and Technology, and we are going to have a very wonderful conversation with its director, G. Padmanabhan. We are living in a pandemic world, and this is a COVID special episode of Eureka. We are going to discuss with him how his institute, which is essentially working on surface material, are trying to harness their capabilities to fight the pandemic. Imagine the aircraft are starting to fly again. Railways are open. We'll be carrying our luggages, right? Along with our bag and baggage, there is a possibility that the germs are transmitted from one place to another. We need to disinfect our baggages at railway station or airport or bus station. They are developing technologies for it. In this episode, we are going to discuss how they are harnessing ultraviolet rays, heat, and other chemicals to fight pandemic, particularly spread through surfaces. Sir, thank you. Thank you for being in this show. It's a wonderful opportunity. So let me start with my first question. You are harnessing ultraviolet rays. Can you explain to us how ultraviolet rays are useful in disinfecting virus, particularly this novel coronavirus, from surfaces? We know how we have to use soap. We know that sanitizers are useful. But how is this ultraviolet ray are useful in disinfecting surfaces?
First of all, a very good morning to everyone. It's really nice talking to you once again.
Yes,
it was about 4 years ago that you covered the activities of ARCI, and I'm glad that we are talking again, especially things related to the pandemic, which has affected all of us.
Thank you.
As you know, ARCI is a laboratory involved in materials research and manufacturing technologies. In a way, not very close to microbiology or viruses or bacteria or things like that. But however, any device which functions in the field for any purposes requires certain engineering inputs that have to go into it to materialize it. So with the background that we have in the past in terms of materials and manufacturing, we sat together and tried to understand the problem of the pandemic and to come out with some innovative solutions where we have some background. Of course, on the biology side, we wanted to have partnerships with relevant experts. So coming to the first method of disinfecting using UV light. UV light in the germicidal range, we call it 200 nanometers to 280 nanometers wavelength, is known to be very useful in disinfecting several microorganisms, bacteria and viruses, including the earlier version of SARS-CoV-1. What we are talking now is the SARS-CoV-2. And there are reports that it has been able to deactivate or inactivate SARS-CoV-1 also. Now, within the germicidal range also, 254 nanometers wavelength is the most effective wavelength.
254 nanometer is very effective.
Very effective wavelength. Now, SARS-CoV-2 virus is enveloped by a fragile outer lipid envelope, similar to other coronaviruses, making it more susceptible to disinfectants compared to non-enveloped viruses, such as rotavirus, novirus, and polivirus. In CoV-2, other thing is it sustains longer on the surfaces, causing rapid spread. And UVC radiation, as I mentioned, is well known. And the principle on which it works is, it's called the dimerization process that happens.
Dimerization process. Huh?
Yeah, when the UV light is irradiated onto the whatever particle that we are exposing it to.
Okay.
And this dimerization process disturbs the replication of RNA or DNA, leading to cell destruction. So this is the basic principle which we wanted to use for handling surfaces which are affected by COVID-19 virus. And of course, there are other aspects to it in terms of what is the behavior when it is on a steel surface, when it is on a glass surface, when it is on a plastic surface. One has to very systematically work. And as you know, RCI has a very strong tradition of surface engineering and understanding surfaces, which we wanted to bring into this. And we worked on it.
Thank you, Dr. Pathurabam. I mean, it's a very interesting concept that you are going to use ultraviolet rays. As you said, of course, for disinfection, ultraviolet rays has been used for many other occasions too. But coming to specifically one product that you have developed, which is UV disinfectant trolley, which you are suggesting that is very useful in hospital setting or settings where large number of patients come and go, right? So how does this trolley work? I mean, what is its advantages?
Yeah, it is a trolley fitted with a set of 6 UV emitting lamps.
Okay.
And these lamps are positioned in such a way that the areas in front of it, 180 degrees, it exposes the surfaces in front of it to the UV light. And another 2 lamps at the bottom, so that it also irradiates the floor.
Okay.
That is the basic geometrical design. But the main element that goes into it is what kind of dosage the lamps are able to emit at a given distance. So what we try to do is at a 35 centimeter distance, we should be able to deliver about 4 millijoules per centimeter square intensity. And so that it is basically intensity is measured in watts per centimeter square, and then you expose it for some time. The product of it is nothing but the millijoules per centimeter square. So that threshold value is what we try to achieve through our design, so that the surfaces that gets exposed to the trolley as it is moving in the spaces will get that kind of dosage of UV light, and those surfaces will get disinfected.
So one point you are mentioning is that there should be a certain amount of dosage so that there is a good clearance of virus or other germs from the surfaces, right? I mean, that's one thing that. I mean, your trolley should be maximum about 1 feet away from the surface which you want to clean. That's a kind of that is a point.
The practical considerations.
Yeah, but traditionally, even now, for example, in hospitals, I mean, people are using, for example, liquid-based, chemical-based disinfectant. So why do you think that it is necessary or advantageous to shift to this UV-based rather than keeping the chemical-based?
The user-friendliness in terms of there is no chemical used and you are not leaving any chemical residues on the surfaces. Another is ease of use. It is one person properly shielded, taking the trolley inside and going to every nook and corner and just coming back. So you are not leaving any residues, and you are not also preparing any chemicals for that purposes. When we probably will talk about the chemical disinfection also, where you have the preparation methods and a quality control that is required to get the right concentration to avoid any side effects.
See, it also brings into the point that although our recovery rates in India are very high, but the numbers are still growing, which also would mean that you need a very fast turnaround of bed, right? Like, for example, if a patient is, discharged, that bed should be made ready for the next patient very quickly so that we don't have any choking. Perhaps this kind of a dry method might be much faster than the liquid method, right?
Yeah, you are right. In fact, the whole process of disinfecting one area for one bed will be less than 30 minutes. And it's ready for occupation by the next person.
Yeah. That's interesting. This also brings in the question, now that the unlocks are happening and then the public transport systems are going to be also opened up. Public transports like a bus, metro, or rail, or even aircraft would also need disinfection once in a while, right? I mean, on a regular basis. So, how does your UV trolley fit into these situations?
Yeah, the trolley, if the space is enough for its movement, it can be used, because we have to be sure that it reaches the nook and corner of the place. In hospitals or such places, probably we have the flexibility, but in other places where you have restricted movement, maybe we have come up with models which are smaller also, which can go through those areas, also smaller areas also. So it is possible to redesign and adapt it to wherever it is required. But coming to the other aspect of safety or measures against spread through luggage, or things like that, because people carry luggage naturally when they travel. So for that, we have come up with a conveyor system, which is similar to the way we do X-ray scanning in the airports. In fact, the X-ray scanning system itself has been adapted to have the UV light from all 360 degrees falling on the luggage, and then going through this chamber will disinfect the baggage. But the point is, there you need a high throughput. So naturally, what we did was design the UV system in such a way there is higher irradiance, so that a suitcase that goes into it comes out in 8 seconds. So a little bit of engineering that has gone into it. We did it along with our industry partner, and they're already deployed in the market.
Okay. So this is also a very important point, right? Like, for example, the X-ray machine prevents, for example, narcotics or other dangerous material being transported. Now that we are living in a world where germs like novel coronavirus should also not travel from place to place, this kind of a system would be very useful in containing, not just in airport, but also, for example, in cities like Delhi or major metro cities, even in railway stations, people have to go through this kind of a scanning machine. Bus stations, people have to go through this kind of scanning machine. So you can have a much better control on the transmission of virus through surfaces. Do you think that we need to, the administrators have to become alive to this and try to install such systems in most places?
Yes, definitely. The industry partner is now publicizing it in a big way, so that the awareness of the availability of the product is there in different circles. And I hope more and more people will adopt.
Thank you. That's very nice, Dr. Padmanabhan. We'll take a very short break here, and then we'll come back. Keep watching Eureka. After the break, we are going to talk about how their institution, which is essentially a surface engineering based institute, but has a very important role to play in managing the pandemic after the lockdown. Keep watching Eureka. We'll come back after a short break. Welcome back to Eureka. We are having a very wonderful conversation with Dr. G. Padmanabhan, who is the Director of International Advanced Research Center for Powder Metallurgy and New Materials, ARCA for short, an institution under Department of Science and Technology. Before the break, sir, we were talking about how you are harnessing UV rays to eliminate virus from surfaces, disinfect surfaces. In this part, we would like to talk about some of your other initiatives. We come to know that, for example, you are looking at certain chemicals, even paints, which can prevent virus from surfaces. So can you explain how chemicals and viruses, what kind of chemicals, what kind of paints are used as disinfectant?
Yeah. The first option that we considered was a chemical which is human friendly. Because when you spray on in public places, whatever exposure humans may have, it is difficult to avoid. So we should look for an alternative which doesn't have any harmful effects on the humans. So the first choice in that direction was hypochlorous acid. In fact, there are reports that, not only reports, it is in practice already. HOCl, it is the short form, is used by dentists during the surgery purposes. So so we know that it is safe. Even
it's safe for humans. It's safe for humans. So,
And similarly, the body itself apparently synthesizes HOCl to fight against bacteria and viruses.
Okay, very nice.
Right? So we thought, and it is a product made from an electrolytic process. It's also called ionized water. And what goes into it is simply sodium chloride, the salt, and water electrolyzed together, and you get this chemical.
Okay.
So this HOCl, hypochlorous acid, in a particular concentration, that is 125 parts per million, ppm, when sprayed onto the microorganisms, they straight away kill them.
Okay.
This is the basis on which we have embarked on this route also. And along with, again, industry partners, we have established a small electrolyzer which can produce the right quality of the disinfectant. And along with another R&D partner, our next door neighbor, Defense Research and Development Lab, who have certain capabilities in computational fluid dynamics. So when you fog into a chamber this particular chemical, there are the positioning of the spray nozzles and their geometry is so important that when a person passes through that chamber, should get disinfected in all the nooks and corners, so that you are 100% sure that disinfection has happened. So scientifically, CFD modeling has been used to identify the positioning of the nozzles and the nature of the nozzles and the kind of spray that comes out of it. And that model has been used to design the chambers and then tests done. And both these tests, the earlier mentioned UBC trolley as well as this chamber also, and their efficacy in terms of disinfection, we have collaborated with the ESI College of Medicine in Hyderabad, and they have done the experimental validation of their efficacy.
Okay.
And we also had inputs from Defense Lab INMAS in Delhi that they have done some exercise also on HOCL's effectiveness on virus.
Okay, very nice, very nice. So basically here one question comes that there was a warning from WHO that disinfectant tunnels we need to avoid. But here you are talking about a disinfectant tunnel which is completely different from what was being used earlier, right? I mean, the earlier one was using chemicals which can perhaps cause a problem to human being, but here it's a safe chemical which can be used, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, in the anxiety to deal with it as early as possible, several places these disinfection tunnels were set up, and they were, to my knowledge, most of them were using hypo.
Yeah.
And then that is hypo for inanimate objects
is fine.
Is fine, and that too we should control the concentration. Otherwise, it can cause certain irritations and problems, and that's what happened. So the point here is choice of the right chemical and a scientific evaluation of how it works and designing the system appropriately is what is required so that we don't have those negative backlashes.
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing that you talked about, how this new disinfectant tunnel, which can be useful for both people and maybe perhaps PPE or other materials which needs to be disinfected in public places. This might be very useful. You were also talking about using heat, like one of the honeycomb based disinfectant, thermal disinfectant. So, of course, one knows that if you boil to 70 degrees, the virus dies. But neither surfaces nor, let's say, animate objects you can put in water and boil. So, how does this thermal disinfectant works? And what are the areas in which it will be more useful?
What you said is right. Basically, virus cannot survive against heat.
Yeah.
And in fact, it is the same basic principle.
Yeah.
All these, especially the inanimate objects like the PPEs or the instrument that doctors use or those things, we can just put it inside this chamber, which has got a precise temperature range of 100 to 200 degrees centigrade, and with a controlled humidity also, because you need a combination of both, under which conditions the viruses get inactivated. So we had in the past, in fact, already in the market, honeycomb-based air heater technology.
Okay.
That is what we have adapted it into creation of these chambers with a accessory to add the controlled humidity introduction also, and then made this device. And we partnered with again a CSIR, a laboratory in Hyderabad, CDFD, who are experts in this dealing with microbiological systems. And we could see that we could calculate the temperature versus the time of exposure that is required to disinfect.
Okay.
And those studies have been done, and we have already found out that most of the microorganisms get killed.
Mm-hmm. So basically, for example, in a hospital setting, whether you have let's say a surgical knife or things which are made up of metal, you disinfect by putting them in liquid and boiling it, right? I mean, water and boiling it so that you sterilize. But things like, for example, your stethoscope or blood pressure instrument, many of these kinds of materials which you use in hospital setting, you can't use the regular method for disinfect. So that is where your this heat chamber will be very handy. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's the advantage you can get. And one other advantage, even though the other product which uses the UV light is also ours, but here, but UV light sometimes, if mishandled, can cause some skin irritations or something like that. So here, even that issues are not there.
Okay, okay. So
except that a little energy consumption will be there, which also we try to optimize by using our efficient heating systems.
Okay. So depending on the concrete situation, people will have a basket of technologies available for disinfectant. So whether it is hospital setting or maybe one has to even look at, for example, when the hostels start functioning, when large number of people are there, maybe perhaps one would require this kind of technologies to manage the spread of germs there, right? I mean, so it's not just only in hospital settings, but many other settings also we would need mass disinfectant mechanisms. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we thought about it also. As I said earlier, we are surface engineering people.
Yeah.
So it is a natural thought process that goes in that direction. So we looked at incorporating virucidal elements into paints, like copper-based antiviral wall paints. Is what we have thought of. In fact, we have already synthesized such paints.
Okay.
And done the validation tests in a NABL accredited lab in Hyderabad. And we found that a specific bacteria, Pseudomonas, was used as the sample for checking the effectiveness of these paints. And 99.9% of it got killed.
Okay.
So bacterial growth was not seen. So we are now moving to the next step of specifically checking its efficacy against COVID-19.
Okay. So
yeah.
This paint is something that you can put in public places or places where the possibility of contamination is high. That's a aim. Huh?
Yeah, we can put it on the walls. We can put it on metal surfaces, and this is in the validation stage, and soon it should be coming out.
Okay. That was very nice, sir. Thank you, Dr. G. Padmanabhan. It was a very, very interesting, very informative conversation and information that you have given that in the post-unlock phases, the movements are going to be substantial. Men, material, people, baggages, they are all going to move. We are going to come back to a situation where we may have to live in hostels. We have to travel in a packed public transport system. So some way surface cleaning, disinfection is very essential, not just only for novel coronavirus, perhaps for other such infectious disease transmission also, this will be useful. The technologies that have been developed by ARCI, harnessing ultraviolet rays or safe chemicals, chemicals which do not cause problem to human or heat, they are all very useful. They have made fabricated useful products. Thank you, sir, for being with us in the show. It was a very wonderful opportunity. Keep watching Eureka. We will come back with another interesting conversation next week, same time.